This build is super fun and super crazy when dealing with ads if you like to unleash tons of stasis crystals. You're going to be having 4 ways to produce stasis crystals. 3 of them are from your abilities, and the last one is from your exotic weapon we're using for this build. So if you guys like spamming your abilities and also freezing and slowing targets with your crystals, be sure to hit that like and sub button. Without further ado, let's get right into it. This exotic armor piece will benefit from using your class ability, so instead of it becoming a barricade, it would now become a stasis barricade. And whenever you activate your stasis barricade near enemies, it would slow the target, and if you would also stand behind the stasis barricade, it will grant you and your allies increased weapon reload speed, stability, and range. But that part doesn't matter because we are going to destroy every single stasis crystal we're going to create. So that's what the exotic armor piece does for this build if you want to generate more stasis crystals. And now let's head to the abilities for the Titan subclass, aka the Behemoth. The first one is your class ability. It doesn't really matter what you use because if you have this exotic armor piece on, it would always use Towering Barricade. So let's just say you have Rally Barricade, it will convert that to Towering Barricade. So it doesn't matter what you use. And for your stasis grenade, if you want to produce more stasis crystals, be sure to put Glacier Grenade. Now for the aspects, this stasis aspect will allow you to generate stasis crystals on your stasis melee ability. Whenever you slide, activate your charge melee to launch a wave of stasis crystals. It would also freeze targets, which also shatters them whenever you slide into it. And for the next aspect will allow you to destroy stasis crystals at ease, but you would have to slide into them most of the time if you want to insta-kill those stasis crystals. After sprinting for a short while, it will enable you to have a longer and more powerful slide. Sliding into a stasis crystal or frozen target shatters them and any nearby frozen targets. Now for the fragments. The first one will allow you to get increased grenade recharge rate whenever you destroy stasis crystals. And the more stasis crystals you destroy, the maximum timer for this buff will be up to 11 seconds. But by the default, it will be 6 seconds. The next one increases the damage and size of the burst of stasis whenever you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. In this build, we're going to be doing both of those. The third one will give you more of a resist, aka reduced damage from targets, whenever you're near frozen targets or friendly stasis crystals. It also includes yourself whenever you spawn them. And last but not least, this one will allow you to get even more class ability energy whenever you defeat slowed or frozen targets. So your main goal is to try to freeze every single target you see, and how you can be able to do that is by 1, throwing your glacier grenade at a target underneath their feet to freeze them, or 2, use your stasis melee ability to slide into them, and with your barricade, try to go near him and cast your barricade right next to him so he could freeze, if you really want to proc this fragment. Now onto this stasis exotic bow. This one allows you to produce even more stasis crystals. Direct hits with the stasis arrow freezes combatants and slows opposing guardians. Stasis arrows that impact the environment create stasis crystals. So you could 1, spawn stasis crystals, or 2, instantly freeze targets just by using this bow. And whenever you get a final blow with this weapon, it would grant you stasis arrows. So whenever you get your next hipfire shot, it would fire all of them in a single volley. And you could be able to hold 5 stasis arrows in your bow. And if you do have the catalyst for this bow, all it will do is that whenever you freeze or slow targets, it will grant this weapon faster draw speed for a short period of time. And if you guys would like to slow or freeze combatants with this bow, all you would have to do is hit fire near a target and the stasis crystal will instantly freeze them or slow them. So this is the main weapon you're going to be using for this build if you want to produce tons of stasis crystals. Now onto the energy. For this weapon, you can choose any other weapon you would like. But for me in this video, I'm using this arc fusion rifle called the Loaded Question, which comes with overflow and controlled burst. And same thing with the power weapon. You can change this one as you please. But for me, I chose to put the Cold Comfort because it's stasis and I like to match the theme for my builds. And the perks you would want to go for are Envious Assassin and Bait and Switch. Here are the seasonal artifact mods that I was using for this build if you guys are interested. The 2 main ones you gotta go for are this one. Defeating an encased combatant spawns a stasis crystal. This one will give you even more crystals. So all you would have to do is freeze them, kill them, and then another stasis stasis crystal will spawn. And the last one is this one. Shattering encased targets and stasis crystals deals increased damage. Shattering stasis crystals release shards of ice that damages and slows targets. And for the stats that you need to use for this build, you mainly got to go for resilience if you want to get the maximum benefit for your class ability. Because remember, we are on Titan, so by having resilience, it would reduce the cooldown of your class ability, and it would also reduce the damage taken from combatants by 30%. And the second stat that I do recommend going for is discipline if you want to take the full benefit of reduced cooldown for your stasis glacier grenade. And if you guys would like to try out the build for yourself, the dim link will also be in the link in the description. Join the Discord! And now onto the armor mods for the build. Let's first start with the helmet. The first one you're going to want to put is Harmonic Siphon, because whenever you get rapid stasis weapon final blows, it would create an orb of power. I chose to put Harmonic Siphon because it ties to your super, so in this case we are using a stasis subclass, so it would be Stasis Siphon. And 2, it's also cheap, so that's why I'm always putting Harmonic Siphon for the helmet. The next one is good for your class ability because we're going to be using that a bunch of times, and it's called the Dynamo. Reduces your super cooldown when using your class ability near targets. And last but not least, I'm using Heavy Ammo Finder to increase the drop chance for heavy ammo. And what's also cool about this is that whenever you get primary ammo weapon final blows, if they are an exotic, you would have a higher chance to find more heavy ammo. Now onto the gauntlets. The first armor mod I put is Heavy Handed. Your powered melee final blows creates an orb of power. And I do know that activating Howl of the Storm will not be able to proc Heavy Handed, but the only way that you can use it is with Shiver Strike. For the second armor mod, I'm putting Momentum Transfer. Causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. And the last one is Impact Induction. Causing damage with a powered melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown. And for the chest armor mods, you are going to be in close quarter combat, so I put Melee Damage Resistance. Reduces incoming damage from combatants that are at point blank range. And the other 2 mods are resist mods, so the first one I put is Arc Resistance. Reduces incoming arc damage from combatants, and the last one is Solar Resistance. Reduces incoming solar damage from combatants. With these 2 armor mods, you can change this one depending on what activity you're playing, but the main one you gotta go for is Melee Damage Resistance. Now onto the leg armor. Of course, stasis builds do not really have that much healing benefits, especially for Titan, so I'm putting Recuperation for more survivability sake, so whenever you pick up an orb of power, it would replenish your health. For the next one, I like to reduce my melee cooldown so I can use it more often, but I would have to pick up an orb of power, and this mod is called Invigoration. And last but not least, this one will reduce all of the ability cooldowns whenever you pick up an orb of power, and this one is called Absolution. Now onto the Titan mark. Whenever you activate your class ability, aka your Rally Barricade, it would reduce your melee cooldown even further, and it's called Outreach. The next one, whenever you get a kill after activating your class ability, it would give you an orb of power, and this one is called Reaper. Now onto the last mod, which is Powerful Attraction. Automatically collects nearby orbs of power when you activate your class ability. If you did enjoy this build video, be sure to hit the like and sub button. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, evening, or afternoon. Take care and peace.